Wow. It's my birthday today.
Yeah.
And I can do this too. Wow. Ever since I was very young, I've been a musician, actor. That's what I love to do. But then I find when I pursue it, it starts to happen, and then it falls apart. Like I lose my way. But if I do anything else, things go really great. But what I love to do just doesn't seem to, I don't believe in it or something.
Well, you do. You believe in it, but we can tell you easily, and under these conditions, you will hear it easily, what's out of whack a little bit in this. Especially with that vocation or profession. Mm-hmm. It's true of most things, but especially with something like that. When you perform, you care about the response from those who are observing you.
Yeah.
And so it's an exaggerated version of losing your guidance because you're letting your audience guide you, and they are diverse and fickle.
Yeah.
So you said something, in other words, if there's something that you really love to do, if you can get to the heart, why do you like that? Why do you like acting and music? Why in the moment of it happening, what does that feel like?
When I play music, or I sing, or I play the piano, or I'm acting, I feel alive. I feel that I can do it for hours, that I just feel electricity running through me. I feel love, full of love.
Feel what he's saying, so you feel aligned.
Yeah.
And so it's simple, because it's just your relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
And it feels so good. So what is it about being out in the world that then changes that comfortable, easy to accomplish relationship with self? It's your habit of caring how they're responding. It's your feeling like you need them to see you in the way that you mean for them to see you. So you've got to do things in order to mold their opinion of you, never realizing that their opinion of you has so little to do with you. Their opinion of you in any moment in time has everything to do with their relationship with their own source. So if they are in alignment, then they're going to love you. And if they're not, there's nothing that you can do that's going to make them love you. And one of the most wonderful things about being in the business of music is that usually, not always, but often, usually, when people are listening to music, they're usually in alignment with who they are, and so they're more likely to appreciate you because they're in the mode of appreciation. Mm-hmm. You just happen to luck out and be the object of their attention while they're in alignment, you see. Sort of like moving all over the place and then accidentally running into it. So, feels good to be in alignment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And does that make sense to you? Esther has met some people who are in that place of fame. And sometimes she will wonder how they stand it if their public persona or the way they are perceived controls the way they behave. It cannot, you cannot, talk about giving your power over.
Yeah.
Talk about losing your guidance, you see. So you've all heard the adage, and it's a good one. Find something that you love and do it.
That was my question.
And then watch what happens. But you have to keep yourself attuned to why you love it. Mm-hmm. And so let's play the game that we've been playing. So give us an example of a situation where you feel negative emotion about pursuing your desired career.
Well, because when I'm playing or singing or acting, and I love it and people love it, and then when I decide that I'm going to do it for a career, maybe I'll make some money and I'll book a job and it's going great, and then I hate the audition. Then I'm like, oh, I got to go in there. I got to show them what I can do, and I get so angsty.
So why do you hate the audition? because you don't trust their response.
I guess so, yeah.
You don't trust their response. And the reason you don't trust their response is because you don't always get a positive response, because they're not always in that place. So you can't trust something you can't control. And you can't control the vibrational stance where others are. And so let's say that you're on your way to an audition and you're all wadded up in it. You're uncomfortable about it. You really don't want to do it. You don't like that feeling of scrutiny. So now just turn this around slightly. Rather than seeing them as interviewing you, do they like you? Think instead of how you like them.
Yeah.
Because you can control that.
Yes. It's awesome.
So I'm going to interview an interviewer.
Wow, holy crap.
And they might like me or not, that's irrelevant. But I'm going to see how I feel about them. But before I get there, I'm going to join forces with sources. I'm going to come into alignment with source, and then we're going to go and we're going to appreciate them. So now let's get into that vibrational place. Do I want to appreciate them or condemn them? Do I want to love them or hate them? Do I want to see their value or see their not value? Do I want to see the best in them or the worst in them? Do I want to play with them or do I want to struggle with them? In other words, there's lots of things that you can do in preparation for this. So you acknowledge, oh, I love music so much. The thing I love about music is that it tunes me with source. And the thing I love about auditions is that it tunes me with source. The thing I love about auditions is that I can be tuned with source before I even am part of the audition. In other words, I'm tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and then. And if you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and then, and they don't love you, they're not a match to you, and you didn't want to play anyway. But if that factor is not in place, if you're not tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and they're not either, then you don't know what the missing factor was. They might have had the potential to love you if you've been in alignment.
Yeah.
You don't know. You see what we're getting at?
I totally do.
So you want to control what you can control, which is how you feel. It's such an often thing. People like you who are so good at what you do, finding that quiet place where you're not out there in the weeds trying to control conditions. It's just you and your talent and your love of it and your expression of it, and you're just tuned in, and it feels so good until you try to make a business out of it. Mm-hmm. And then when you try to make a business out of it, you've got all these conditions that you haven't found alignment about. You don't have to figure out how to make a business. You just have to treat the business, find alignment in the business. Like, do you remember when you couldn't play that well?
Yeah.
Do you remember when it didn't flow through you in the way that it does now?
Yeah.
But do you remember it not mattering because the condition didn't get you out of alignment? Mm-hmm. So, in other words, what we're asking is, do you remember playing better and better and better? Mm-hmm. Then you remember coming into more and more and more alignment.
Yeah.
So isn't it logical that you can play better in the business world too? Isn't it logical that will get better and better too? And doesn't it take some practice? Did you sit down at that piano the first day and play something that anybody wanted to hear?
No.
So you practiced yourself into alignment. That's all we're talking about. Just practicing yourself into alignment. Just practicing yourself into it. Practice yourself into feeling happy about what you're doing, regardless of what somebody else is thinking about it. And before you know it, you'll have such a momentum going that they'll be calling you because they know about you, they've heard about you. Their expectation is already in place about you. You won't be having to prove anything, and that's the key right there. That's the piece that we really want to stick into everything that we were talking about already here today. When you feel like you have to prove something to someone, that means you've got to talk them into feeling differently about it than you think that they already feel, and you can't get there from there.
No.
Whenever you feel like you've got to prove something to anybody, you're focused upon them being off somewhere where you don't want them to be, and now they just get offer and offer and offer and offer further and further away. Mm-hmm. So you have to prove anything to anybody. You just have to find alignment and see if they're in enough alignment to recognize it.
Beautiful.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And when you leave auditions and they're considering not hiring you right on the spot, just waiting for the next and then making a decision, they'll be saying to each other, I don't know, there's just something about that guy I really like. Something that I really like. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. Sounded good, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Lots of talent, but a lot of people have got
Yeah.
that. What's the factor? What's that it factor? What is that factor? I don't know. I can't explain it. I just feel drawn to that person. Because that person is in alignment with the energy that creates worlds. And while I was participating with that person, he influenced me into my own alignment, and I'd like more of that, please.
Wow. Awesome.
Enough.
Thank you so much.